Welcome to From Caving In to Crushing It, the podcast for those who find themselves immersed in adversity and choose to write their story instead of having others write it for them. I'm Deraney, and I'm your host. Vincent, it's good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
I know it's been probably about a couple months since the last time we talked, and I know a lot of stuff has developed for each of us. I'm grateful you're here and that we are able to share our stories candidly. And you have such an important message that you're trying to get out, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to do that, which is why I wanted you on. So thank you for being brave and having that courage to share your story.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So, we talked a little bit before I hit the record button about how life is not linear. We all are told growing up, it's a straight line. You do this, you do this, you do it all right, and think it's not true. We all need to go in certain directions, and things come our way that we don't expect, that either give us an opportunity to lay down and give up, or give us an opportunity to be stronger and plow through and make it as positive an experience as we can. And I know you're the latter. You are fighting forward to help yourself grow stronger, and I applaud you for that. I'd like to dive right into this, and have you go back as far as you feel necessary to kind of capture that defining moment that kind of hit you upside the head and said, hey, there's a better way for me to live, and I'm going to find it. So if you'd be happy to share, starting with that'd be great.
Yeah. Again, thank you so much for having me. And
My pleasure.
how it started for me at a young age, I lived in fear. I lived in fear like a long time. So I didn't know any better. And once the computers came, I started to get addicted to the computers. I started to get addicted to video game, and then the internet, and then pornography. So I got a lot of addictions under my belt. And I kept on going with that because it was safe. I kept on going and going and going. And I was wasting my years of my life, year after year after year, until I had like this moment that I was playing a video game. And I had this inner feeling. And my higher self reached out to me and it said, like, hey, you need to stop. You need to stop playing video games and get help. And I was like, whoa, what is this? So I put down my controller and I was a bit like flabbergasted.
Mhm.
But I knew that voice was telling the right thing. I knew that I need to get help. So the next couple of days, I told my parents, like, hey, I need to get help because I'm not doing anything with my life.
Mhm.
And it was really difficult, but I had to do it. So after that, I went to see the doctor and he sent me to a therapist, and she talked to me and she asked me, like, hey, Vincent, what do you do with your life? And I looked at her and I started to cry. And I was like, I don't have a life. I don't do anything with my life. I'm just playing video games and watching pornography every single day. I'm not living. I'm dying. And it's like, well, Vincent, don't worry. We're gonna set you on the right help. I don't feel you need medication, but we're gonna put you in a group therapy. And from there, I the world opened for me. I felt a better understanding about myself. I learned tools, I learned tricks, but most of all was important. I was understanding my trauma, the backpack that I was carrying with me my entire life. I had more light on that.
Mhm.
And after that, I got really addicted to self-development. I started
Right.
to read books and I started to learn more about myself, learn more about the world. But that was also my downfall because I was only wanted to keep myself safe. I wanted to read so many books and go to so many courses and get so many coaching that I don't feel any pain, I don't feel any sadness, but I wasn't taking any action. And that I was struggling with that for a long time. That
Right.
became my addiction, just reading books but not taking action.
Right.
So in a nutshell, that was for me. I was living my life in fear. I was scared to go out, was scared to have fun, I was scared to do anything. My higher self reached out to me and told me, like, you need to make a change. And from there I just, yeah, made a
So
change.
Wow. And I give you credit for that. A bunch of things are in there that I want to kind of touch on. And many of us do live in fear. A couple things. Have you determined the root of that fear? And 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 the second question would be, how did your parents react when you came to them and said you need help?
When I told my parents, they were shocked
Mhm.
because they thought I was doing good. They thought I was having a good, okay life because also they wanted to keep me safe, but I was not happy.
Mhm.
But still, they said to me like, "Yeah, you need to do it. If you feel you have to do it, you need to do it." And I went. So yeah, they were a bit shocked that
They
I
were
asked
shocked,
for
yet
that.
yet they were supportive, which is a benefit for you because that's what you were reaching out to get support from them. Now, where are you calling from? I know I'm in the United States. Where are you located?
I'm from the Netherlands.
You're in the Netherlands, and getting back to the whole fear thing, did your parents and you kind of figure out where this fear came from?
I did a lot of research. I
Mhm.
did a lot of searching for myself, looking
Mhm.
for answers. But it was really my trauma youth. I've been bullied a lot. I've been, yeah, in my youth, I've been traumatized, and yeah, it's there because I also have struggled with self-worth. I don't see
Okay.
my worth. I know I have it, but I don't
Right.
see it. I don't see the value that I have. So that was also a struggle, but it started really with, yeah, traumas. Because when I was young, I was playful, I was having fun. But at a later stage in my life, I got like, my heart got crushed by a girl.
Yeah.
And from there, the rejection was really, really hard. So I didn't go out. I didn't
Yep.
face those fears. I didn't face those rejections.
Yes.
So I stayed behind my computer to be safe.
It is amazing how relationships for a young boy, girls don't realize the power that they have on young
Yeah.
boys. And I'm not saying in a good or bad way. I don't think they realize that the impact girls have on boys at that young an age.
Yeah.
Because most boys at that age are trying to build that self-confidence, and they're letting a girl kind of dictate how they feel about themselves. And that rejection is hard. And I remember my first time being rejected, and yeah, it's tough, and you had nothing to compare to. So tell me how you worked yourself out of that when even right now you're going through some stuff. So how did you took that step forward to self-improve? Uh Tell us a little more about that journey.
Yeah, like I said, I struggled a lot, but I felt every time I took those small steps
Mhm.
that I need to take the action.
Right.
Even though I can read 1,000 books,
Yeah.
still I need to implement the
Yes.
things that I've been teaching. But
Absolutely.
I didn't take any action, so I didn't learn anything because I can learn from books, but if you don't take the action, you're not gonna experience, and
Right.
that's what I wasn't experiencing.
Mhm.
But still, I felt there was some part in my life that was still not good, so I also need to go back to my foundation, back to the risk, because I wanted to go so fast. I wanted to uh be with girls, I want to sleep with girls, I want to go so fast. But my
Right.
traumas were holding me back. It was like, no, you have to do some work on yourself first. But
Right.
I was just wanted to move so fast every single time.
Right.
But I was catching up. I was getting exhausted. I was getting angry because I wasn't getting the results that I wanted.
Right.
But I was really in the loop. I was really in a trap with myself. But
Mm.
still, I kept on going. I still kept going, looking for answers, going on the internet, looking for answers, talking with people, research. That's how I learn new things. Like, hey, I can try this, I can try that. And then I found out about the Wim Hof method because my nervous system was really like overloaded. I was
Yeah.
always triggered so much. But once I do that with the cold exposure and the breathing, I felt it's gonna go less. My nervous system was really cooling down and relaxed.
Tell me a little about that breathing. I didn't catch the name of it. What type of breathing?
The Wim Hof method.
Wim Hof man. Okay, okay. Can you explain that to the audience? Because I'm sure a lot of people don't know what that is.
The Wim Hof method. Well, Wim Hof, he's the Iceman, how they call him,
Okay.
and he has records of being in the ice for hours and hours, and he climbed the mountain just with his shirt and his what's it called? Not his underwear, but his shorts.
Yeah. Right.
he climbed the mountain, and also when he climbed the Mount Everest, he did it without oxygen. He just focused on the breathing.
Okay.
So he climbed the mountain just with his breathing.
Wow.
So what the breathing is and does is, if you do the breathing, what I remember what he said was, your adrenaline goes up, so you're boosting up the adrenaline, but your CO2 goes down. So you're gonna alkaline yourself.
Mhm.
So you have a lot of toxins inside your body. You have a lot of, yeah, acid inside of your body. And once you do the breathing, yeah, you're gonna, yeah, cleanse yourself. And with the cold exposure, if
Mhm.
you go to you can do a cold shower,
Yeah.
or you can go to a bath with ice.
Hmm.
There you're gonna, yeah, train your body to be stronger, and also it's
Right.
gonna fight off infections and
Right.
diseases.
And that has
And that
helped
was,
you.
yeah, a lot. I
Right.
ever since I started with it, I see and I feel a lot of benefits about, yeah, especially with my, yeah, my triggers,
Wow.
and really moving forward in life. So I really highly recommend you to check that out.
Wow. That's that. Thank you for sharing that. So, what are you doing now, professionally? I know you've got a podcast. Tell us a little about your journey now and where you're at.
With my work or just with the podcast?
Podcast and your work. If your work is something that's helping you to grow,
No, that's not
not
helping me. No, no, no.
tell us about the podcast then.
The podcast, that's a really cool story because in my own journey,
Mhm.
I see a lot of men struggling, and I see them suffering because I see them also get rejected by girls. I'm also seeing them like being lost and not knowing who they are, what the values are, because they are numbing themselves with
Right.
alcohol to boost up the confidence. They watch pornography, they hang out with the wrong people. So they're really lost and running into circles, and then they go to jobs that they don't like.
Mhm.
And I saw myself in them. I saw and I feel it in my heart that I wanted to make the change. And I got this idea also from my higher self because it told me first coaching. I wanted to do coaching, but I don't want to do the same thing over and over again. I want to be universal. I want to learn as much as I can
Sure.
about certain topics.
Mhm.
But then I started to go into network marketing, and I was only about a product that you need to learn and also to sell. And it was not my kind of thing. I really was, yeah, I wasn't happy because I
Mhm.
was only doing one thing. But
Right.
then somebody told me like, "Hey, you should do podcasting."
Right.
I was like, "Wow, this is a really good idea because I can combine multiple things together, and I
Sure.
can share my story and I can help other people."
Mhm.
And there it started to, yeah, get alive. I started to get excited.
That's
The
great.
beginning was hard because I had a lot of doubts, like, can I do it? Will people listen to me? Is my value good enough? So I struggled months and months and months,
Mhm.
and just procrastinate because I was so afraid of sharing my voice and telling
Right.
people like, hey, this is really cool what I'm teaching or what I'm sharing. But now once I do more and more, I start really to fuse with my podcast. I start to come together. I'm starting enjoying it. Well, the editing I don't enjoy, but still it's I'm learning so much from it. And I feel like I can have so much impact on younger men, especially with pornography, because that's a lot of teenagers and men are struggling with it. And I want to share how damaging it is because I've been doing it almost all my life.
Yeah.
And I warn people like, hey, there's more to life than just being in your comfort zone, not taking risk, and just
Right.
enjoy your life as much
Mhm.
as you can. So that's really my core, to live from the heart and
Right.
not be stuck in the mind and just let the monkey mind tell you what to do. Just from the
Right.
heart, what you feel,
Yeah.
and from there act on it and move forward in life. That's what I want to give to men, to be their own leader
Yeah.
and move forward how they want to live, and not being told by governments and by other people what they need to do.
Exactly.
No, what do I want?
What do I want? And I give you credit too, because with the pornography, there needs to be a lot more awareness of it, of how detrimental it is to the human psyche. And especially men, I believe the data shows that men are involved in watching porn more than women. I'm not sure. I do know it's detrimental for both genders, and most men will not admit and don't want to talk about that they've watched it. It is it's like it's interesting because like there's a stigma if you admit you watch it, yet it's so detrimental. You make makes people wonder why they do engage in it. So, um, has it been easy for you to bring that topic out publicly and have other men A, admit that they're involved in it, and B, admit that they realize that it's something they need to stop or that it's hurting them?
The thing that I want to share first is it's denial. I was in
Denial.
denial, like,
Okay.
hey, I have this problem,
Yeah.
but I was like, no, I can handle it. I will do it myself.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to see help. I didn't want to get help because I was also ashamed because I've been
Right.
struggling with it a lot. I don't want to tell it. So
Mhm.
I think a lot of men that have this issue, there's shame or there's a lot of like, yeah, insecurities, like, hey, am I good enough? Okay, how are people going to react?
Right.
But I remember once I did it for the first time and share, it wasn't so bad. People responded really good. It's like, wow, it's really brave of you that you share it, and wow, you should do this more. Or yeah, there's a lot of taboo on this, and you need to tell this to more
Right.
people. So from there, when I got this, yeah, when people are like giving me the compliments, I started like, hey, I can talk about this. It is safe for me to talk about this.
Right.
And even though if they say like, yeah, go away with your porn nonsense, it
Yeah.
didn't matter because I know how important it is to talk about it. Because
Absolutely.
yeah, it's like you said, we talk about it, but nothing is happening because
No, it's
they think
true.
uh it's yeah, there's a taboo and I think it's like innocent, but
Yeah.
it's not because it took most of my life because I didn't want to go out with girls or date with
Hmm.
women
Hmm.
because I was so afraid. I was so afraid of the rejection. And
Yeah.
if I went out and I got rejected, I felt like I wasn't meant anything. I wasn't good enough for women. So I went back and watched porn because it's safe. There's
Yes.
always we want to go to the safe place. So that was for me the reason that I want to share because it's a destroyer. It really destroys your life, and it sounds really harsh, but it is.
It
It
is.
took it took many years of my life, so I want to warn people, or especially men, to be careful with that because you're just you watch it, and then every day you're gonna tell us like, okay, today I'm not gonna do it, and then you're gonna do it again and again and again, and you're just lying to yourself because yeah, it's hard. It's really hard, and what you
Mm.
said, it does a lot on your dopamine system and on your what's it called, on your pleasure levels.
Right.
And
Right.
also when you want, for example, if you want to you work something hard for it to get an ice cream,
Hmm.
now you get it. So
Yes.
it's really you're destroying everything in your brain, in your body, and also you deplete yourself when you ejaculate every single time to pornography,
True.
and you're numbing yourself.
Yeah.
That was for me. I was running away because I was numbing myself, not to
Mhm.
feel the pain and all of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was hard, but yeah, it was really necessary to take action and get
Yeah.
away from it.
You know, what's really important from what you said is that the thoughts you were having about the potential rejection if you confronted a woman, those were all in your head. All those
Yeah,
assumptions, all those judgments, you were self-creating the worst case scenario. And more often than not, the actual response is not as bad as the thought we put into our head what the response is going to be. It's never as bad as our brain is telling us it's going to be. And that the fact that you've overcome that and felt comfortable stepping out of your comfort zone, you know, rejection a lot of times can make us stronger if we see it as a gift because maybe it just wasn't meant to be that
yeah,
specific person. Like, hey, thanks for not saying yes, you'll go out with me because you're not good for me, you know? And so good for you. Good for you.
yeah. The
So
thing that I want to add, Drew,
yeah,
that's really
please.
important is
Yeah.
even though I was in my mind, it was
Yeah.
also the body because my body was storing the trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I tell myself reaction doesn't matter, my body was just shutting down. My body was
Absolutely.
just freezing.
Yep. Yep.
And that's why I reached out for help. I'm now seeing a psychologist because my body is always stopping me. My body's always put a brake on me. So even though
Interesting.
I can walk to a woman and to talk to her, but then I would freeze up and I don't know what to say and I get sweaty because
Okay.
my body's been traumatized. And
Okay.
that's why I need to change that. So also it's
Oh,
not just the mind,
interesting.
it's also
It's
the
not.
body, because it's
It's that
working
mind body
together.
connection. You need that
Yeah.
connection between mind and body. And right now,
Yeah.
that's what you're working for, that alignment. Well,
Yes.
we're all a work in progress, and you've come such a long way. Um, don't give up. Keep going, man, because you're close. I'm telling you. And you've got a
Absolutely.
lot, you have a lot to give and a lot of important messages that people need to hear. Um, I have a couple questions I want to ask you to before we end, and this one I love to ask because it gives us an opportunity to speak to somebody we haven't ever gotten a chance to speak to. So you now have an opportunity to speak to young Vincent, 7 to 10-year-old Vincent, and he's asking you advice about life. What advice about life are you going to give young 7 to 10-year-old Vincent?
The advice that I would give was, or yeah, is to get help sooner, to take the first step, to took the courage to get help sooner, because I've been really late for getting help.
Mhm.
So I wish that I could tell myself, my younger self, like, get help now, because if not, you're gonna waste more of your life. You're gonna waste more of your precious time that's been given to you
Mhm.
every single day. Because I've been addicted from the age of 12 until 32.
Yeah.
So that's a long time. And I didn't do anything with my life between that. So that's really important was for me. If I knew sooner, or if
Mhm.
somebody told me like, hey,
Yeah.
Vincent, please get help, I would do that. So that would I give myself, please get help.
Well, thank you, because what we don't know is who's out there listening right now. And for all we know, there could be a young Vincent out there listening, and that's very helpful advice. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
You're going to put on a different hat now, and now you're speaking to young Vincent, the young businessman entrepreneur, and you want to give him advice about business. What are you going to tell him?
Keep on going, be consistent, and don't give up on your dreams, because I've been always a dreamer, but I
Mhm.
didn't take the action.
Okay.
So that was for me to for business, because I was really good with money. I didn't have
Mhm.
any money issues until I moved to Mexico.
Okay.
That's another story.
Hmm.
But I was really good with my money, but I wish that somebody told me, my older self, to invest, to start to learn about business, to start to learn about self-development sooner, and not
Hmm.
just wasting so many years.
Right.
Start educating yourself, start picking up books that you're interested in. We can watch many TV shows, but what's it gonna get you?
Hmm.
Nothing. It's not
Right.
gonna get you in return. It's the same with video games. We can play a lot of video games, and we can get all these achievements, but what do you get in return?
Right.
Nothing.
Hmm.
Nothing.
Hmm.
So with business, start educating yourself, start learning and start developing, but especially go deep inside yourself. What is there something you need to change about yourself? There's nothing wrong with us, because I always thought
Right.
I was damaged. I always believed that I wasn't good enough.
Right. Right.
But there's nothing wrong with me. I
No, not
just
at all.
been traumatized. I just
Yes.
need to learn and build the confidence and overcome those fears, because the first, like you said, the first time it's difficult, but once you're gonna do it more, also with
Mhm.
rejection, you're
Yep.
gonna do it more and more, and then you're gonna laugh about it. Doesn't
Yes.
mean anything. So it's the
Absolutely.
same with business. Even though in the beginning it's hard, like I said, for me with the podcasting, the first videos was difficult. I was
Yes.
scared to look in the camera, I was scared to
Absolutely.
speak. But
Yeah.
once you're gonna do it more and more, you're gonna get comfortable, you're gonna learn. And the cool thing is, with the body and mind,
Hmm.
is the mind is can learn a lot, but also your body learns as well, because it's
Right.
gonna adapt, it's gonna improve, it's gonna
Right.
learn. So if you get that aligned together,
Absolutely.
you're unstoppable force basically. If you
I love
master
that.
and everything,
Mhm.
all those elements
Yeah.
with business, with your life, with relationships, you just the world opens up to you.
No, that's
So
that's a great message. You just and you're right. We all, every single one of us, have the opportunity of unstoppable future. And
absolutely.
and speaking of that, I think we've been able to capture the essence of Vincent Hazenboom, and the audience is going to want to get more of you. How can they reach you?
I'm all the social medias, and also my My podcast is gonna be on YouTube, and also I'm building a website so they can also check that out when it's ready. Hopefully, it's ready soon because it's still building,
Right.
but hopefully I'm gonna get that ready, and then I can launch my podcast. Super exciting, super scary,
What is the name of your
but
podcast so people can start looking for it when it's ready?
How to Heart show.
How to Heart Show. Awesome.
Yeah,
Well, Vincent, thank you so much for coming on. I'm grateful you're in my life, man, and I'm so
me
glad
too.
Chris Belfry introduced us.
Yeah,
That's a great thing.
absolutely,
And I wish you all the success. This will not be the last time we speak. We're going to keep in touch, and we'll
absolutely.
keep monitoring your progress, my friend.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me and share my story, because this is really important. It's not like my story is the most important, but it's a good story for people to know, because like I said, time is short,
Mhm.
life is short, so you need to grab that opportunity every single day, the time that you have left,
Yeah,
because tomorrow's gonna be your last. And I would like to say, what do you want to or what how do you want to tell people your life when you're on your deathbed? Do you want to tell people on your deathbed like, hey, I just watch TV every single day, I didn't do
yeah,
anything, I didn't take any risk?
yeah.
Or you want to flip that and say, like, I did everything in my power, I did everything that I could inside of me, my potential,
Absolutely.
everything, to get everything out of life? What would you choose?
Absolutely. No, it's a great message, Vincent. And there's somebody out there who's in the same position you are, and they haven't told their story. You're going to give them a lot of courage today. So thank you
And
very
you can
much.
always reach out if you have questions or you're struggling. Always, you can always ask me for advice. I'm always open to help.
That's wonderful. Thanks again, Vincent. Appreciate
Thank
it, my
you.
friend. All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe and give us a review to help others find it. I'd like you to answer this question. Are you living the life you want to live, or are you living the life others want you to live? I'd like you to think about that for a second, because I strongly suggest you live the life you want to live. If you want to learn more about what I stand for and my services and how I'm able to help many men get out of their own way, please go to my website at www.profitcompassion.com. Feel free to also email me at drew@profitcompassion.com. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Take care of yourself and choose to write your own story instead of letting others write it for you.